This video is brought to you by Wren. What's up, guys? Michael here to tackle the fabulous chaos of Rick and Morty's Season 5 premiere, Mort Dinner Rick Andre. A lot happens, particularly for an episode that largely takes place inside the family home. We meet Rick's best nemesis yet, a hypersexual sea lord.
I'm going to make the land wet!
Who happens to control the police.
Police, take this piece of shit to jail.
I told you. He's an ice cold dick killer.
Also, Jerry says the most chilling words any child could ever hear.
We've been watching pornography together.
Gross.
I might never come back.
And Morty once again tries to shoot his 14-year-old shot.
I just want to say that you're really great. I know the timing never really worked out with us, but you're really great, and I wish I got to know you better.
But the most interesting part for us was the development of the Hoovieverse, a world behind a magical Narnia door where time moves fast. What starts innocently enough with Rick recruiting Morty to use the portal to age some wine.
So time moves faster in there? It's like a Narnia thing?
I'm not a beaver who believes in Jesus Christ, Morty. But yeah, it's pretty much a Narnia thing.
Butterfly effects into a high-tech civilization founded on a collective hatred for your favorite high school neurotic. More than just a fun subplot, this storyline can teach us a lot about how civilizations develop with the help of a couple dead philosophers. So join us as we explore whether aggression and war are at the heart of all human societies, and don't worry, it should be totally fun. Let's get into this Wisecrack QuickTake on Rick and Morty Season 5, Episode 1. How Violence Builds Society. And as always, spoilers ahead. But before we get into it, I want to give a shout out to this video's sponsor, Wren. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the constant bad news about climate change sucks. And the worst part is that I feel like there's nothing I can do about it. And this is where Wren comes in. Wren is a website that helps you calculate your carbon footprint, and then shows you how you can offset your footprint by funding projects that do things like plant trees and protect rainforests. Rather than just feeling bad about the climate crisis, with Wren, you can actually do something about it. All without having to spend all day outside getting sweaty and dirty while planting trees. All you have to do is answer a few questions about your lifestyle, and Wren will calculate your carbon footprint and help you reduce it. Now, as much as I've tried, no one can reduce their carbon footprint to zero, but you can offset what you have left after reducing it on your own, because you're already trying to reduce your carbon footprint on your own, right? Once you sign up to make a monthly contribution that will be used to offset your carbon footprint, you'll receive monthly updates from the projects you support. They'll actually send you pictures of trees that you planted so you can see what your money was spent on. And I mean, who doesn't want pictures of beautiful trees showing up in their inbox? Seriously, slide into my DMs, trees. We all know it's going to take a lot of work to slow down the climate crisis, so why not start today? We've partnered with Wren to protect 5 extra acres of rainforest for the first 100 people who sign up using our referral link. So go to www.wren.co/join/wisecrack to join us in saving the rainforest and fighting the climate crisis. That's wren.co/join/wisecrack. And now, back to the show. Now, when we first meet the gentle, jovial Hoovie, he and his very pregnant wife are living on a simple, idyllic farmstead surrounded by fields of flowers. There's no signs of technology and definitely no weapons. The vibes, as the kids would say, are mellow. And Hoovie graciously helps Morty carry some aged wine back through the portal. Of course, when time doesn't so much tick by as gallop, things are bound to change fast. Hoovie returns to a much darker world to find his wife, now a significantly less charming skeleton, and his creepy now-born son, who stabs him in vengeance for being a deadbeat dad. In his dying words, Hoovie establishes Morty as the foundational cause for his family's woes.
Was it my fault?
Who's then? Who's?
The boy from the magic door.
He then bleeds out beneath a sky of thunder and lightning. End scene. Now, if philosopher Thomas Hobbes had Adult Swim and a decent bong, he might have gotten a real kick out of this moment. See, he thought the heart of why human societies form is to defend themselves against a common enemy. Small side note here, Hobbes' idea of a state of nature was violent and chaotic, unlike the peaceful Hoovieverse Morty first encountered, which more resembled the state of nature imagined by philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau, that is, a fundamentally innocent one. Anyway, Philosophical caveats aside, Hobbes believed that a common and foundational enemy, whether real or imagined, is the main rallying force that gets us all to work together and form societies. And in rallying against an enemy, we, as members of a society, necessarily sacrifice some of our rights to a sovereign in order to be better protected from these external boogeymen, or in this case, boogie boys. We see the beginning of a civilized society on Morty's third visit to the Hoovieverse. The Hoovies have started cultivating land and even domesticated a bird. The move to an organized agrarian lifestyle was, of course, a very real stage in the development of human society. After Morty offs the new Hoovie patriarch, his sons mobilize in opposition against their now sworn enemy, constructing what eventually amounts to a full-blown medieval kingdom, complete with creative weapons, towers, and very devoted watchguards.
Papa, why do we guard the gate?
Because one day the Dark Child shall return, and we will be ready.
On Morty's next visit, he's seemingly pummeled to death. But this doesn't end the society's orientation towards violence against this mythic adolescent enemy.
We finally beat him, but let's always remain vigilant.
Eventually, the king's son speaks out. He's fed up with the Morty obsession.
You have wasted our lives, our very futures, on a fantasy.
Clearly, people have been subjugated to build this kingdom in the hopes of protecting themselves against, and we can't stress this enough, a 14-year-old whose only friend is his grandpa. Eventually, the Hoovies progress so far that they become cyborgs, one of whom ponders,
Who would we be without you, Morty? Are we anything beyond our hatred?
Hobbes might say, nah. But why do we stay stuck in this pattern, especially when war is painful and involves some very non-delicious snacks? For answers to that, it's worth looking to notable French disciple of power, LSD enthusiast, and one of my personal bald icons, Michel Foucault. In his lectures, Society Must Be Defended, Foucault analyzes 17th century historian Henri de Blainvilliers, who argued that war isn't really about individual battles that interrupt civilized society, but rather is the fundamental schema for organizing civilized society as such. As Foucault explains, it is a war that begins before the battle and continues after it is over. It is war insofar as it is a way of waging war, a way of preparing for and organizing war. In this way, war became a sort of permanent state that permeates the entire social body. We see this as the Hoovies continue to industrialize in their perpetual war against Morty, with the core of their social order resting on their relentless need to be prepared to fight their foe. Even when some of the Hoovies eventually do rebel against the prevailing social order, they do so through the only mechanism they know: more war and violence. According to Foucault, the constant state of war informs everything from religion to economy to education. In its permeation across society, war becomes an excellent mechanism for controlling a populace, a sort of subtext of sovereignty. It doesn't benefit those in power to simply give up the ancestral Hoovian hatred for Morty and build a peaceful society. Doing so would mean giving up control of its populace, who, in becoming robotic emissaries of the war-obsessed state, have sacrificed their rights and autonomy to those in power. None more so than Adam, whose entire life has been dedicated to the project of destroying Morty. He's the natural culmination of the Hoovieverse's progression from peaceful farmers to angry peasants to mobilized warriors. Of course, things go even further when the Hoovies acquire cybernetic capabilities and literally become Morty murder cyborgs. The project of killing Morty then has literally destroyed organic life, leaving behind only robotic agents of war and aggression. Here, Foucault's ideas are exaggerated and literalized. Hoovie society is literally nothing more than its preparedness to battle Morty. Pretty bleak. As befits any rigorous Harmon effort of storytelling, this even connects to the episode's main plotline, in which Nimbus and Rick each define themselves by their antagonistic relationship. Their attempts to find peace between Earth and ocean flounders. You get it? Flounders, like the fish. In part because their antagonism is foundational to their identities, much as the Hoovieverse was defined by hatred of Morty.
Do you think he will show you mercy?
And if you think this all sounds a little bit like a certain post-9/11 warmongering American national identity, we're certainly not going to say you're wrong. But what do you guys think? Are the Hoovies an excellent example of the violent fate that inevitably befalls any society more obsessed with vilifying its enemies than, neighborly good deeds? Or did we wander through a portal of overthinking yet again? Let us know in the comments. Big thanks to our patrons for your support. Hit that subscribe button like you're unproductively avenging a 100-year-old family grudge, and don't forget to ring that bell. And as always, thanks for watching. Later.